Welcome to episode 11 of the Inside Nutley podcast. I'm your host, Tom Greco. Today we're going to talk about the Township of Nutley Chamber of Commerce. I'm pleased to be joined by the Chamber President, Joseph Graziano, a proponent Federal Credit Union, and immediate past President Jim Mcguire of Essex Cigar, an agency on the Ave. Welcome, Joe. Welcome, Jim.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Joe, let's start with you. Can you tell us what the Chamber of Commerce is all about?
Oh, the Chamber is a growing group of wonderful businesses in Nutley, and we get together 2 times a month, a luncheon on the 3rd Thursday of every month, and a mixer on the 4th Thursday in the evening at 5 o'clock. And it's for networking and getting everyone getting to know each other better, and networking and developing, relationships that lead to business growth.
Jim, this is the Chamber's 70th year. I think you've been a member since it started, right?
Yes, I'm just coming up on my 70th year. I have been involved since I'm probably about 20 years old. And most of the people I do business with is from the Chamber. So for me, we always say, if you're going to show up and you're going to attend meetings, it's definitely going to work out. If you're not promoting yourself and marketing yourself, it's very difficult in small business. But yeah, there's a great core right now we have, and everyone helps out each other a lot. It's been great.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Chamber?
So from 20 years ago, back then, you really had Vince Lacurcio and Celeste Federico, and there was a group of, Luther Engler, maybe less than 10 people that really kept it going for a very, very, very long time. Then along the early 2000s, you had Rich Spector come in, which was our executive director, and he really pushed it up, went door to door, going to each, business and trying to get them involved. So he really, to me, started, we were up to, I want to say, over 250 members at one point in time. And then we've been trying to carry that on. It's been a little difficult over the last couple of years after COVID. But with Joe coming on board and trying to get back, to regular business, I think we're almost there. I think we're almost at 150 members right now. And it's a much stronger group. I mean, when we had close to 300 members, I don't think we have the same involvement as we do now. So the people that are members now have really bought in and are really trying to, keep everything local. I mean, right now it's tough. Anyone can go on Amazon and get a lot of the products that we sell. So we have to give, the best customer service to keep, ourselves in business. So
what are some of the goals of the Chamber?
Our goals are really grow membership and as Jim said, of active members. Getting numbers on a roster is fine. Certainly they pay their dues and it brings in money. But what's really so gratifying right now is that the members we get are coming to meetings, coming to the mixers. Our last mixer, which was last Thursday, ended up, nobody wanted to leave, and we had a huge crowd, and it was networking. I mean, when I say nobody wanted to leave, we weren't hanging around drinking. we were networking and talking to each other and people connecting, and it was beautiful. And so that's really the goal, is to get our members active, which they are, and help them to build their businesses and create relationships that develop business.
What if you approach a new business, what's the selling point? Why should I become a member of the Nutley Chamber of Commerce?
You should become a member to get involved, number one, and that would be yourself meeting other people. But Kevin Knight is our director, and Kevin Knight is a master at social media and promotion. And I have to tell you that we've had people that join and then they say, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Every time I put a social media post out," and I'm talking business related, not them on Friday night drinking, but when they put a business promotion out, we spread it out to the entire membership and out on social media, and then most of us share that, so it's going out to my network and Jim's network and everybody else, and that's been an amazing help, because even though getting involved is important, you can't be everywhere and you can't go to every meeting and you can't go to every single thing. So we really help our members in multiple hit points and multiple publicity points.
Just from, I mean, for, we're charging basically $160 for, a small business. So from that, you're going to get a ribbon cutting. We're probably 15 members are going to show up for the ribbon cutting. They're going to see your business that day. We're going to put it in the newspaper, online, everywhere. If you show up to a luncheon, we're having 40 to 50 people at a luncheon. We give everybody, a couple seconds to explain what's going on in their business. So I don't know where you can beat, that publicity for that price.
Right.
So, and we really do try and shop in each other's store and everything. So it's a tight knit, community.
Joe, Proponent is relatively new to Nutley. What about the township made it a desirable place to open a new branch?
Well, actually, Proponent has been in Nutley since 1971. So we're around for 52 years now. Now, Proponent's a credit union. So we were originally Roche Credit Union. And then about 20, well, actually, it was separated from Roche probably about 11 years ago. So we are new to being more public in Nutley. But we have a very large member base.
Now, you say that you've been in Nutley since 1971. Is that the one on Washington Avenue? Is that a Proponent?
Yes, we're on Washington. The headquarters is on Washington
Okay.
Avenue. Correct.
I should have known that. But I mean, the new branch is new. The one on
Correct. We opened recently last year, a little over a year ago, on Bloomfield Avenue. And we are actually constructing another new branch on Kingsland, right across from on 3.
What does Proponent see in Nutley that they want to expand that much?
Because Nutley is number one, Nutley is a very desirable community. Number two, Nutley is our home. We are the hometown lender for Nutley. We have existed in Nutley since our beginning, and we've been lending in Nutley, and we've always been here. It's just that a lot of people didn't know that we were here. And so we are now more public about being here, and we have been very well received, and it's been wonderful to see the enthusiasm as we continue to build our presence in Nutley.
Great. You said you had about 150 members. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So I had been president maybe about 10 years ago, and then Dan Leone took the presidency from me. We normally only do two-year terms is the max. He was doing such a great job. He did a 3rd term. Then COVID hit, and sadly, he passed away in the beginning of COVID. So with COVID going on, people either being out of business or, couldn't have their store open, everything kind of, sat for a little bit. I was not on the board at the time. I wound up coming back on the board with Neil Henning, Andy Garudo, people like that. So we tried to basically it was almost like starting over from scratch to get everybody, back on and going, and new leadership. And now Joe has come in as our new president. I feel like, all right, now we don't have to focus on all that background stuff. We can focus on really, our membership. And we have 2 big events a year. One just happened, is our 5K. And then, which a lot of people don't know, we actually run Santa's Arrival, which is the day after Thanksgiving, where Santa comes in on the helicopter.
Okay. So how many businesses are there in Nutley? Do you know?
Well, it's tough because if you do a search, you get a lot of like LLCs that are attached to people's homes. I think at one time we might have had like 1,200 registered businesses, in town. Most of them probably, are not someone that would join or are not even really running. So it's a lot of restaurants for us. We think the restaurant gets the most impact because it's a little easier to have an event at their spot, right? So for us, there are some restaurants in town that have not joined. For me, that's crazy. You're immediately going to get a luncheon and you're going to get a mixer. And where do business people hang out after work? Normally a restaurant, bar, whatever. So for them, if I had to plead to anyone, every restaurant should be in, automatic. They immediately benefit, where someone else is going to take some networking. to start getting, business in. So
You have about 10% of the businesses in town. What is an ideal goal for a chamber typically in terms of percentage?
So
of
when
community?
we were close to 300, I believe we were calling ourselves the single largest one town chamber, if that makes sense. So a lot of stuff is regional or county, state, but at the time, just Nutley, we were saying that we were, if not the largest, one of the largest in the country to have, such a small town with so many people active.
It's great. How does one become a member? Are there qualifications?
No, so even though it is Nutley Chamber of Commerce, we will take, any business if someone lives in Nutley, but maybe they work, 20 minutes away, but they're marketing themselves in town. So we're not geared toward just Nutley, even though it's at least 95% Nutley. But like myself, I have a business in Belleville as well. So they're a chamber member. So, a couple in Belleville, Bloomfield, but mostly, at least 95% is Nutley. And you don't have to have a retail location, which most of our businesses are. If you did have an at-home business or something like that, we're accepting of everyone, anyone who wants to, further our agenda.
It's for both of you. How would you describe the business climate in Nutley?
From what I've seen, the business climate is good in Nutley. What I love about Nutley is that people want to do business within Nutley and do business with other Nutley businesses. And that's very, very nice to see and very rewarding. And from our businesses that at least that we've spoken to at our events and others, they're doing well. They want to grow, but they're doing well.
Which to me is funny about networking. I think a lot of people who maybe don't do it would say, well, I own such and such, and there's another person in the chamber that does the same thing as me. So why would I compete against them? And for me, I think over the last 20 years, I've gotten the most business and ideas and help from the people that are in my same industry, because not everyone always does the same thing.
Right.
So when you think about why are people going to come from outside of Nutley to shop in Nutley, well, we need to give them reasons too, right? So it's a little combination of when you are networking, every time I go to someone's shop, I always see something new that I want to now implement in mine. If you're just sitting in your store, you're not going to get the ideas that are going to move your business forward. So I think as a whole, none of us are going to survive on only Nutley customers. So we do need people from outside of town to come in. So why are they coming? To me, the park system is phenomenal. You can shop on Franklin Ave. You can take a walk in the park. There's always stuff going on in town. So, as we start to move forward, all right, now we've built the membership up. Now I think the next step is, all right, how do we reach out outside of Nutley, to get people, in town shopping? So,
and give you an example at the last few events, I've had personally multiple business owners ask me questions about things. Everybody isn't necessarily doing what they do now that they always did. I have a lot of experience from, my past existence before Proponent. Jim has a lot of experience, and we've found that a lot of business owners are even presenting a problem they may have or a challenge. And guess what? There's either myself, Jim, or somebody else that has been there, lived it, did it, and can help them. And then to add to that, we've had people in the same industries, as Jim said, giving leads to each other because, someone came to me for this, but I don't handle that one. I'll give that to Jim and so on. And, it shows the vibrancy of the Nutley business community and also the help and guidance that you can get from other people. You don't know who you're speaking to, and that's a positive. That person could really change your life in the future.
And from Kevin as an executive director, he is getting phone calls and emails. I don't want to say daily, but definitely weekly from a resident, who's calling up. I need a landscaping service. I need this. Who can, I talk to about that. So, from the Google views that we're getting and people actually just calling the chamber asking for help, there is a great benefit to that as well. So
it's great. What effect did the pandemic have on the business community in Nutley?
it had a huge effect, but I also think that, you had maybe some people who were in business for 30 and 40 years, and that might have been a great time for them to, to retire. Then you had those businesses that were probably right on the edge to begin with. So they were forced to do something else. So I think now the community's strong because if you made it through the last 3 years, you're probably going to make it until you decide you don't want to do it anymore. So the businesses that are in town now we're probably going to see for a while, especially the restaurants that survive.
There seems to be quite a few new ones coming in as well.
Yes, which I think is great for the other restaurants because a brand new place is going to attract a lot of people. So, you have Luna Woodfire Tavern, you have a brand new place coming in across the street. Well, that's probably going to give Luna some more business when those new people come into town, right? So, that's what we need.
So are you both optimistic about the Nutley business culture moving forward?
Without a doubt.
Losing Roach was a big blow to the township, but the campus has now evolved into an exciting, thriving business center. Did either of you think that would happen this quickly?
You've had a lot of involvement with the SI. They've been great to us as well as the chamber. So we just honored them at our holiday party for all the work and money that they put into their building. So it's great. We'd obviously love to see a nice community of businesses inside of that place. And you hope that those people are shopping and eating lunch and, doing as much as they can in Nutley and hopefully even moving to Nutley. I mean, obviously when Roach was in business, you had a ton of people that were living in Nutley and working at Roach. So I think as time goes on, we'll get that benefit as well.
Yeah, and by the way, as he said, ASI, excuse me, Pharmaceuticals is a member of the chamber. The medical school, we've reached out to them. They are joining the chamber. There's another business there, Modern Meadow, is joining the chamber and wants to get involved. And that involvement is seeping through that entire community there.
But I think what I'm trying to get at is that as business owners yourself, as I am, I'm kind of stunned that it came back this quickly. I mean, I think that says a lot about Nutley itself because, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, we were like, what's going to happen? And it seems like in a flash, all of a sudden it's thriving and it's growing and it may be better than it ever was. Growing up in Nutley, as you have, Jim, like myself, it was much different, pre all the malls and everything. It was much more local advertising, not local shopping then, because people weren't driving to the movie theater down, AMC. The Franklin was here, all those kinds of things. How else have you seen the kind of business climate change through your lifetime here in Nutley?
Well, I guess you go back to Monero's, right? We all went there for our sporting goods, and you could walk right next door and get a suit. But even in my business, I've tried to hold off on Amazon as long as possible and always, use a member. But it's they do such a great job. It is making it more difficult. So I think it's our job as a chamber to really, it starts with the business owners, and then they have to be branching out to their family, friends, and their customers. Listen, when someone walks in my store, I like to tell them about a great experience I had somewhere else, right? Another chamber member. So if you keep that moving and get people, just like someone's used to going on Amazon, you can always flip their mind and get them used to shopping in a store, but you have to give unbelievable customer service, and that's what's going to get somebody coming to your store.
That's right. And that's where, again, where the chamber networking comes in the sense of helping you determine how you differentiate yourself as a business to separate yourself from that. Why should people come to you? Sometimes you can't determine that answer yourself. You need somebody else that you're with to tell you why either people are not coming to you or what you should do to differentiate yourself. And if you're differentiated enough and unique enough, you'll have business.
I mean, how many times?
My wife went to Hyssop Beauty, which is on Bloomfield Ave, about 2 weeks ago. She came home. She said, "This is the greatest shopping experience I've ever had." She's been back 2 or 3 times for gift, and she's told every person she's run into in the last 2 weeks. So it does work, and take it back. That's from spending $160 to join the chamber, me telling my wife about a store in town, and then her going and look what's happened in a couple weeks. So you can really blow your business up if you have the whole community behind you, right. Especially in Nutley.
Oh, how many times do you hear? I'm sure you're like me. How many times do you hear? Oh, we had that in Nutley. I didn't know that was in Nutley, right?
100%. So
Mhm.
you have to support it while it's there. You can't be mad when it's gone when you never supported it. So
Thoughts on the possible Ciccolini project?
we have multiple centers of town. We don't have one spot where you can just park and walk around and all the stores are right there. So with the high school and ShopRite kind of being in the middle and then stores on both sides of them, I mean, this probably is an opportunity to have a little more of a shopping district. It is an opportunity to, possibly take a pretty big stretch in town on the main Ave and put something new and beautiful up, As much as I'm set in my ways, unlike the town I've grown up in, you do need change too. So
Yeah. I know one of the things personally that bothers me post COVID with businesses and even restaurants, more so restaurants actually, is everything closes early now. Have you noticed that? I
Yeah.
mean, the diners, restaurants are all closing 8 o'clock, and it's like, okay, well, I tend to work late. I'm sure a lot of people work late, and especially people that work overnight. There's nowhere to go to eat anymore. I mean, do you
correct.
find that? I mean, isn't that kind of a strange phenomenon?
So having known, knowing a lot about the restaurant industry with the food costs going up and rent going up and the minimum wage, increase going up, it's just not busy enough between 9 and 10 o'clock at night to support, having more staff there. I'm sure most restaurants would tell you I should probably be closed on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday because there's not enough support, for me to be open on those days. So it's difficult and it's not easy to get employees in the service industry coming out of COVID, because I think when everyone had some time off and you realize how important your weekends are, right, and doing things, and it's like, well, I don't want to go back and work 12 hours a day on Saturday and Sunday. So, those people found other work. It's difficult to get, to get people working on that. And normally that's, your high school jobs and your college kids, and they're not in that field right now. So
But sooner or later, that's going to have to catch up with everyone. No, I
Mhm.
mean, it's not only in the restaurant business. I know we publish automotive magazines, and it's the same in that industry. They can't. No one wants to work. It seems. Um,
It's a bizarre, yeah, it's a bizarre set of circumstances that we have right now. And I agree with you that I think it's going to change. But right now it's not. And I also want to talk about the fact of businesses, people working remotely. And businesses are having a tough time very often having people, the staff wants to work remote and not come in. Now, obviously that affects the economic climate, in the town. Um, but personally, what I've said and counseled younger people that say, I'm looking for a job that I can work from home. To me, if you want a career and you want to make more money and you want to move up, you should be in the office and visible to the owners and visible to the leadership of that company. There's right now you might get away with it's all great and it's all cool, and then you're going to start seeing your people your age. Well, how did he or she just make manager? How did they make director? Oh well, they were in the office and the president knows them. So I think the tide will turn eventually, is what I'm saying on that, and that will have a cumulative effect on business again in Nutley as more and more people actually come into work and then go to lunch and so on.
yeah, because if you go out in town, not just Nutley, but most towns for lunch, I mean, it's dead. I'm not even sure why some of them are open.
Right.
But you're prepping during the day, so you're there anyway. And that's because people are working from home, so you're not going to leave your house to go out, to have lunch. And the same thing as people leaving work and going to happy hour. Well, at home, you're probably not going to get dressed to leave and go to happy hour either. So that's been a major. I mean, lunch in town is dead.
Oh, well, there's a huge social aspect to that too, because people don't interact with other people. That's going to stunt them. When eventually, it's
Absolutely.
No. And like he said, if you're trying to move forward and you're trying to, either go to a bigger company or whatever, you need connections. And if you don't have connections, you're not, as easily going to somewhere else, right? If you have a million connections and you lose your job, you can get another job. But if you're not out meeting people and you're not going to work and
Right.
socializing, you're right.
Are these the types of subjects that come up at the chamber events?
Definitely employees come up every single time we're
Yes.
together, because most of our businesses might only have a couple, right? So from their aspect, it's like, well, I probably don't have a ton of time to train you. So if you're not doing great, I'd rather just do a little bit more work myself, right? So people that want to take initiative, like to me, obviously anyone entering a job isn't going to know how to do it, right? But if you get up, you show up on time, you work hard, you take initiative, you will always have a job.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Now, the chamber has a mixture, like you said, of large companies, small companies. Doesn't matter. There's a great mixture of different sizes and shapes and forms, correct?
Yeah.
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 Because I find as a small business owner myself that we come up at the short end of everything because we're usually mixed in with the corporations. So we have to follow all the rules that they do when, it doesn't work that way. When you have 4 or 5 employees and you have to live by the same rule book that a company that has 1,000 employees, it makes it much more difficult to survive. So at a chamber meeting, these are the kind of conversations that people have to try and work out these kinds of problems or share the similar problems.
Right.
Yep. And normally someone, always has a creative way to get it done, so it is important, showing up to this. I learn something every single time, and I'm always involved in a conversation where someone's getting business from someone else. And I say, there's some people, I meet them the first time and we make a connection and we do business. And then some people, it might take over 10 years, right? So, my tactic is I'm not going to go. If you're asking for leads and you're trying it that way, you're probably going to get nothing. To me, you build a friendship with someone, and when they start to trust you, people like to give business to people that they like and trust. So if you're coming to the first meeting gung ho, like I got to get business today, to me, that's the exact opposite of how you should be doing it. I think I'm more friends with the people in the chamber than I am trying to get business from them, but it winds up happening on its own.
That's right.
Tell us about the events the chamber holds each year, a little more in depth.
We hold 2 major public events, and one we just had, which was the 5K. The chamber runs that. It's an immense event in this town, and it draws a lot of people to the event, and it's a wonderful event.
The 5K run is tied to Relay for Life, correct?
So each year we choose a different charity that we give some of the money to. So we're really not trying to profit any money. We're trying to line up, the sponsors with, how much our events are costing. But Kevin has been doing a phenomenal job. So there is some money left over at the end, and we try and give that to a local charity. So this year it went to them. Yes.
Right. The other one is, as Jim said, is Santa's Arrival, which is the day after Thanksgiving. And that is another event. Not many people know that the Chamber of Commerce runs that event basically for the town. Brings thousands of people to the town. The kids love it. It's just an absolute wonderful thing. And why do we have that the day after Thanksgiving? Is to bring people to Nutley. Now go shop for the holidays and go out. We're basically setting the bar and get out there. Now, those are the 2 major events that we run basically in the town for the town people and everything else. But the chamber itself, the 3rd Thursday, like clockwork of every month, we have a chamber luncheon that is rotated at different, mostly restaurants, but it could be at a business that, will cater it and so on. But it's mostly at restaurants at different ones every month. And it's an opportunity for that facility to showcase themselves, and also people to come have lunch. And we keep the time very regimented so that you're not gonna get in trouble when you go back to work. If you're an employee, you come, you network, you have something great to eat, and you go home. And then on the that's the 3rd Thursday. On the 4th Thursday of every month, we have what we call a mixer, which is at 5 o'clock, generally 5 to 6:30, and that can be at someone's place of business. It can be at a restaurant, a bar, but there is no charge. You pay your own way, and it's literally a meet, greet, networking, just have a nice time and meet each other. And that's what we do all year long.
I would say it's, our events are more casual, where there are networking groups that cost a lot of money monthly.
Yeah.
And you do have to bring leads when you show up to them. So there is a lot of pressure.
That's true.
And it's a lot of money, where ours is a little more relaxed. So at the luncheon, you know, if you want to speak for a couple minutes and talk about everything that's going on in your world, you can, or if you just want to say hello and introduce your name, you can do that as well. So it really is for everyone. There's no pressure whatsoever. You don't have to be nervous. You know, some people do get nervous even just to say their name, but it's not like that at all.
Right.
If you could say anything to the business owners of Nutley who are not members, what would you say?
For me, for free, you can come to one of the mixers. So you don't actually have to be a member to show up to the event. So you can give it one try, and I guarantee you stopping by that one time will make you want to join. I mean, you're going to get business if you're personable and you can talk to someone. You will definitely make a connection the first time. That's going to help help your business.
And then I would add to that if you're one that says I can't really get out for these events, I just can't devote the time, or I'm not that type of person, you have to be doing some advertising, and you're probably on social media, and we will promote your business for free. You know, go for your $160 to join for the year. Your business will be promoted all throughout the year, and you will get that also. So we pretty much have something for everybody.
And if you did work from home and you never left your office, right? At least you joined the chamber, you have our directory, and now I can reach out, you know, by email, phone call, whatever it is. Hey, Tom, I just wanted to let you know, I just joined the chamber. This is what I offer. I'd like to hear about what your business is. So to me, it's like a much warmer, you know, hello than just walking in off the street and trying to do business with someone, right? At least you have some commonality that you can, you know, start with.
When you're a member of the chamber and you call somebody and say, I'm a chamber member, that's an entree. Defenses go down. You know, it's not like, who are you, Joe? What is this? You know, you've already gotten the entree to have a conversation with somebody.
What's so good about Nutley that you guys participate your free time in a Chamber of Commerce?
I have to tell you, I just love Nutley. You're going to say, well, that's not an answer, but there's something here. There's something here. The people, it's Jim. It's, you know, when I got involved in the chamber, I was like, oh, wow, you know, these people are different. They're friendly, they're comfortable, and the business owners in this town are special. And I'm not just saying that. I'm just telling you, this town has that that quality that you can't put your finger on, but you know it when you experience it. And that right there is a reason why I love the chamber and why I love Nutley and continue to, you know, to do this, because, you know, we get a ton of money. We make how much do we make? About 100 times zero is what we make. So it's not for money. We do this really for Nutley, and because Nutley gives back, even if it's that you know, feeling, it just feels good.
I was lucky enough to meet Ruth Bedford and Vince LaCurcio in my early 20s, and you know, they were as selfless as it comes. So when you meet people like that, and you know, if it was only one person running the chamber, it would be very difficult, right? But when you get a lot of people just doing a little bit of help, then it makes everything easy. And I think that's what's been great about Nutley since I've been here my whole life. But it's a very strong community with, you know, a lot of people in town that are always helping. I mean, when you go to events, it's the same people at every event, right? I don't think you're getting that in a lot of towns, which, you know, right now with the real estate boom, you have to be careful, right? Because you have so many new people coming into town. You hope you're not losing that base of people. So I think it's important for us who are in organizations to start meeting those new people in town and get them involved and show them, you know, how great this town is.
Right.
You know. All right.
Thank you again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I hope to meet you someday.